Morning, all. All right, so two games tonight in the National Hockey League. Let us discuss. First off, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. This one starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. That's right. Normal start time for this one. Carolina leads the series 2-1, but of course, New Jersey won in pretty convincing fashion in game three. So, New Jersey will be looking to keep that going. Carolina will be looking to reverse course. Natchez with just 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points thus far in 9 games. Kind of stands out for Carolina as a player you would have thought would add more points by now. He sure just has the 1 goal. He does have 6 assists, 7 points in total. And so we'll see if he gets one tonight for the New Jersey Devils. Should be a fun one. And then at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, we have the Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken. Seattle is ahead in this series 2-1. If they win this one tonight, I can't see Dallas winning 3 in a row against Seattle. So this is absolute must-win territory for the Dallas Stars, much like the New Jersey Devils are in must-win territory, not wanting to go back to Carolina down 3-1. So on the Dallas side, they have Wyatt Johnston, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. He is getting very valuable experience. As a Dallas fan, I'd like to see him get a lot more valuable playoff experience. Beniers has been getting better offensively as the playoffs have gone along. Both of these players just with the 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. So some young players, we'll see which ones end up getting on the board in these games tonight. Let me know your winners in the comment section below as always. All right, so Gabriel Landeskog, this news came out this morning. This is absolutely it's a gut punch. Landeskog says he is fully confident he will be able to come back and play hockey. However, he missed all of this season. He is going to miss all of next season. Players who miss multiple seasons, it is rare that they come back and play full seasons, that they play as well as they have. And he's having a right knee cartilage transplant. I don't know if I've seen that before. It's quite possible that that's something that's happened a few times over, or maybe it's relatively common amongst athletes and they just haven't said anything other than knee surgery. But it sounds pretty major. He will miss all of next season and look to return for the following season. But for Colorado, a team who absolutely missed Landeskog, on top of not having really replaced Kadri, missing Landeskog is one of the reasons why they did lose in the first round. So without him for another full season, we'll see what Joe Sakic does this summer and how he adjusts to that. Obviously, that'll go on LTIR. And so without worrying about Landeskog's cap hit, what do you do with that extra money for another year, right? Keeping in mind the salary cap in 2024 should be going up by a significant amount. So hopefully for Landeskog, this surgery ends all of his knee problems, stops them in their tracks. But we'll find out over the next year or so. But all the best to Landeskog. Honestly, a really good player. It is a shame he didn't play this season, and he won't play next season either. So getting into discussion of yesterday's draft lottery, there's been a lot of talk about the draft lottery. First off, that the fact that Columbus dropped to third was leaked. People know what the draft lottery order is. When it goes live, the cards aren't put in some order, and it's not that nobody knows. It's just you're not supposed to spoil it. Kevin Week spoiled it, apparently. It was said on both Sportsnet and ESPN that Columbus was dropping to third. I don't see anything really heinous in all of this. I just see it as kind of sloppy reporting. You're not supposed to spoil it for everybody. But Columbus dropping to third, honestly, this draft looks really good. I think that Michkov would go earlier if not for the fact that he has a KHL contract until 2026. So any team that drafts Michkov will not have him for a minimum of 3 years. And so that will likely cause some teams to back off and go for, if you're choosing between him and Leo Carlson, well, you're going to take Carlson because he's available sooner. Obviously, Fantilli gets into that number 2 spot in all likelihood, going to Anaheim. Carlson probably goes to the Columbus Blue Jackets. But it's considered to be a very deep draft. Of course, and the reason that I'm wearing a Chicago jersey is that, Chicago wins the draft lottery. I knew there was going to be a lot of complaining if Chicago won it. The thing is, Chicago tanked. They were right near the bottom of the league. They were, by all accounts, the team that we normally would say that's a team we'd like to see win the draft lottery. They were near the bottom of the league. They've torn everything down. They've done everything they can to secure that one spot. But because it's Chicago, people hate the result. And I get it. I honestly, I completely understand it. The one thing I don't understand is for people who think the whole thing is fixed and the fix is in, I don't understand why people still follow the NHL if they believe that. And I say that because I genuinely don't feel like there's a bunch of fixing that goes on because they're just not very good at it. Because I always see it's set up so this team will win the cup, and then they don't. It's set up so this team wins the draft lottery. Every year there's that speculation, and very often it doesn't work out that way. There's the other thing too, which is you can win a draft lottery and still end up flubbing your rebuild. So for Chicago, it's one thing to get Bedard, but they have to surround him with the right players. They have to build that back up. The one thing for Chicago is they were experiencing a lot of half-empty buildings over the past season. There was a lot of fans that checked out once the draft lottery result turned out the way it did. There was a huge surge in season ticket ownership, and I think it was in the hour and a half after they had over 500 signups for season tickets, something along those lines. But it's a lot, and so for Chicago, it's a franchise that they tore everything down. They absolutely did. This was what they wanted. I think that yes, if Anaheim had won, there would have been a lot less complaining about it. But Chicago hasn't been a very good team for some time now. Since they got swept in 2017, it's been lean times in Chicago. So that's 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, where yes, they won a play-in round against Edmonton, but they didn't have a good regular season record and wouldn't have made the playoffs that year if not for the expanded way they did it. 20-21, 21-22, 22-23. So it's been a long time since Chicago had a really good team, and it's a matter of can Kyle Davidson build that. So yes, they win the draft lottery. I understand people being upset. It doesn't guarantee that this team is going to be a ton better unless they go out and get the right players. And as we saw with the acquisition of Marc-Andre Fleury, when they went out and got Seth Jones, they gave him the huge extension. There have been questionable decisions with Chicago, so they have to make the right decisions going forward. I don't think Bedard is going to say, forget it, I'm not going to Chicago. I've seen that suggestion as well. But again, if I really thought the whole thing was fixed, this channel wouldn't be a thing. I probably would have been the football guy instead. Because if not for hockey, the NFL is probably what I would have done as my YouTube channel. But at any rate, I understand the upset. I understand all of the discussion. I'm not sure. I find it odd that if people think that it's really this predetermined, I don't know why they support the league. And if people decide not to, that's their right as well. But I don't see it. I just don't. It's one of those things that if it was out there and if I really thought it, I certainly wouldn't have had the live stream yesterday. I wouldn't have been covering it as much as I was. And the Canucks were close. So if you're a Canucks fan, hearing this, probably, if you haven't heard this already, it's probably not going to make you feel better. So it's four numbers get drawn. So the four numbers that got drawn for that number one draft pick, 4, 5, 9, and 13, which was a combination that lined up with Chicago. Chicago had an 11.5% chance of winning this. And they did, and it was the third best odds. So, because I've seen, well, they only had an 11% chance. Yes, but it's still the third best odds. And so, those four numbers come out, they get the number one pick. If it had been 4, 5, 9, and 12, the Canucks, despite only having a 3% chance, would have moved up to first. If it had been 4, 5, 9, and 12, the interesting thing too, though, is that if Vancouver had won it, I don't know if anybody would have said, oh, see, this whole thing, it's all predetermined. The fix is in. I don't think anybody would have thought that. I think there would have been a lot of, probably would have been some complaining, but I don't think that same accusation would have been out there. So I really think it is people's hatred of Chicago, which I, again, totally understand. I get it. I'm not even going to try to dissuade people or talk them out of it because I get it. But yeah, it is heartbreaking to see the Canucks. But the Canucks with the draft lottery, it's kind of the way it works, right? And it goes all the way back to 1970, Gilbert Perreault. It goes back that far. So Vancouver does not do well in lottery situations. And that's kind of something you have to accept as a Canuck fan. But at any rate, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.